spot. My name is Tiffany.
I'm LaWanda.
And I'm Ron.
And today we have a very special guest, one of our spotters, Casey from Ohio. Welcome, Casey.
Hi, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm
Hi.
excited to be here.
Welcome to the spot.
Well, welcome. I should say welcome back because you joined us before. It was a few seasons ago, the first, maybe the fourth or fifth season of Power. So welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
So you see, fans, you too can be on this show too.
Yes, let us know and we will get back to you and we will have you on the show.
There you go.
Tiara is out this week. So she'll be back next week. And we'll be back in just a minute to recap 106 Level Up of Raising Kanan.
Baby, I know where the last one burned you. Know that ain't cool. Wanna show you how I'm nothing like him. Swear that's the truth. So you can't trust that I won't.
Okay, we're back and we're ready to get into it. Raising Kanan, episode 106, Level Up. And you guys, this was a good episode.
Yes. It was I'm a little upset with Raq. As you know, we talked.
Why you ain't listen to us, Ron?
No.
LaWanda and I told you, as women, we knew that she was going to be pissed off at Symphony. We knew.
Is she really pissed off or is she just aimless? Because, look. Kanan did exactly what he was supposed to do. He stood up for Symphony and he said, I did it. It was my fault, not Symphony's fault. And
we got Symphony involved. He should not have gotten Symphony involved in the first place.
Well, that's on Kanan. That's not on
right.
And Symphony simply wanted to appease Kanan, help him out, and hopefully win some points with Raq, understanding that they were trying to build this relationship anyways. So for Raq to just become unglued over the fact that Kanan, who doesn't listen to her in the first place, hasn't listened to her so far, and you want to take it out on somebody, so you take it out on the least of them. And I just think that it was just absolutely wrong. Yes, y'all did browbeat me about what she may do to Symphony, but it's wrong, ladies. I'm sorry.
It's not about browbeating. She had already said no one gets between Kanan and me. So she had already let her know off rip. So when he did that and he did not tell her, and that was a big thing, LaWanda and I said that last week, the issue was really going to be that he did not communicate. Not only did he get involved, he did not communicate it to Raq. And she had to find out about it secondhand. So that made it worse.
Casey, help me out. What do you think?
I agree with both perspectives, but I think for Raq, as a drug queen pen, she already has trust issues, trusting someone. So she's going to have, her loyalty is going to be with her son as opposed to Symphony or her boyfriend. And like Tiffany was saying, the fact that she told him, and he knows, he was already, having a hard time with Kanan accepting him. And I think that's why he agreed to keep it quiet, but he's the child and he's the adult and he's the boyfriend. So he has to kind of maybe go behind Kanan's back to say, hey, Raq, this is what happened. I agreed with not sharing this with you to Kanan, but I want you to know. I think, the onus is more on the adult, on the boyfriend, as opposed to, and I understand why he didn't say anything, because in his mind, okay, I want to build that trust with Kanan. So his mother will, everything will be fine between the three of us. But I do understand where Raq is coming from, because, she's, in her mind, she's going to think, if you kept this from me, what else can you keep from me in the future, if we're still together? So maybe, I think she hastily, broke up with him for sure. But yeah. I think there's more coming from the fact that she already doesn't trust people being with what she does. So, that her breaking off probably has something to do with that. that level of distress that she already has with people.
Yeah, loyalty is a big part of it, but it's
Mhm.
also control. It's about control. When you're in that kind of position of power, you maintain that power by being able to control and manipulate everything around you. And the more information you have, it allows you to exercise better control over these situations that tend to pop up, because you have to make life, she makes life or death situations, right? And it's hard to do that when you don't have all the information. So there's that. Then I think it's also this particular situation, because she now feels like Detective Howard has a piece of information she didn't really intend for him to have about, about Kanan. And so whether she can admit that, that's no one's fault. That's probably Kanan's fault for getting in that fight, but that's not Symphony's fault. But she's taking it out on him because now he knows that that's his son, and that's something she never intended for him to know. And then the other thing, even if that wasn't the issue, you need to know if your son got picked up by the police. That part, I don't understand. I understand him trying to build trust with Kanan. That's important. But it was more important to tell her that your son is being picked up by the police. I think that was extremely crucial. So we knew she was going to be pissed because of the mother-son issue, but there's also the thing about loyalty and control too.
Absolutely.
Could it have been that maybe Kanan called Symphony because he knew that, I don't want to get my mother or my uncles involved and come into the police station based on what they do?
It could very well be.
So
He thought that.
Yeah.
I thought that.
Yeah, and not only that, I'm going to say something real masculine here, and I'll probably get eaten up behind it. But it's oftentimes women want us to understand your emotional context, from your emotional context, as to why you do what you do. But you're not trying to understand it from a more masculine context, which simply says that this is how men behave. When another man bestows his trust to another man, that has another level that is not seen by Raq, or in this and other instances, a mother. So here Symphony is caught immediately between a rock and a hard place. Does he help this young man, though he's a child, as you said, Casey, but he came to him in urgency. He needed help. And what Symphony was doing was trying to help this young man and hopefully gain some points with his mother. Now, and I don't see that the points were more important than really helping Kanan, because he did help Kanan, and since Kanan really wasn't booked, and yes, and I make this an argument, he wasn't booked, he was held. And yes, LaWanda, you're correct that a mother should know when a son is picked up by the police under any circumstances. I agree with you 100%, because I have children, and I would want to know, even though I'm a male, I would want to know if one of my boys or my daughter has been picked up by the police. But I have to understand also what they were trying to build, that is Raq and Symphony, prior to that incident. They wanted Kanan to come on board with that relationship. Now, you can't have it both ways. You can't be going up and down at the same time and not be stretched until you pop. So, and this is what we saw with Raq. She stretched until she pops, and she popped.
Okay, but I'm Symphony. All right, you go pick up Kanan. He called you, but as the adult, and you're in this relationship with this woman who's already told you no one comes between my son. That's when you say, "Look, I appreciate you calling me, but you have to understand that we don't hide stuff with your mom." That's
Well,
not
he
what
said, if she asks, I'll tell her.
Yep, he said that.
He said that. He said that, but it's the lie by omission that is the betrayal. That's the thing that's unforgivable, and it's two things going on. You have a drug queenpin who's flirting with the law, who's fighting off a competitor. You can't have these kind of unknowns, because it's detrimental to her and her business. And I think that's the point nobody's getting. outside of the emotional stuff, this is a business decision. This is a distraction that can cost me in the end. And I think that's how she's looking at it. You make these critical decisions to remove anything that becomes a distraction, anything that can take your eye or interfere with what you're doing. And so I think she made more of a business decision than she did a personal one.
But that is also a contradiction in term, because of the fact that having a relationship is a distraction. Having Kanan there is a distraction. So we have a whole bunch of distractions that Raq is going through. Raq should have said,
he was entertainment, then he became a liability.
but he's always been a liability. Remember what Unique said from the very beginning, that having a son, a mother having a son, is a liability.
No, I meant Symphony.
Well, that's what I'm saying. She, by bringing Symphony in on a relationship base, then you make him libelous as well, because now you got an innocent person whom we think might be something else, and it may make sense that he is, but technically from what we know now, he's an innocent person that you brought into the fold. And that's yet another liability, because now you have emotions with this guy. And if something were to happen to him, or if Unique were to find out that you're dating him, he can hold this guy, accountable to whatever arguments that you all have. So the whole thing is a contradiction, and you can't split peas. And that's what I find that she's doing. She's splitting peas and want to blame one person over another. Your whole essence in this whole relationship factor is a problem. And if you're going to be a kingpin, as we have learned from Power and all these other shows, relationships don't work. Marriages don't work.
I don't disagree with you. I just say I understand completely why she did it.
Yeah, and we knew that. We saw that last week. Like, no one said that Symphony's intentions weren't good. Like, for all intents and purposes, he seems like a decent guy. We don't know, he may still be a fed, but just knowing how, she had already set the parameters when she said, no one gets between Kanan and me. And she checked him before when he tried to protect Kanan. When he said, well, when he found him in his underwear and stuff, and he was like, no brother wants, no kid wants to see brother in there, when he defended Kanan.
But that's true.
Like, she pretty much shut him down.
Yeah,
like,
but
this is my son, like, she shut him down. So that let him know right now that let me know that it was gonna be a problem.
Okay, I won't belabor.
So no, you're right. I understand your reasoning, but I'm not saying that Raq is right or wrong. I'm just saying, just based on her behavior, I knew that we were going to get that type of reaction this week from her. I knew that because she already demonstrated that, and Kanan just keeps getting everybody in trouble. He keeps involving people. Everybody is becoming a liability because of Kanan being short-sighted and just being rambunctious and everything. So that was a trip.
Okay. One for the ladies. Okay.
So the other prediction that we had about Unique, we know, I think Sierra's not here to claim victory on that one, but we said, she and I said, we did not believe that Unique really believed Scrappy was turning. He referred to him as turncoat. We knew that Unique didn't really think that he turned on Raq, So I think he was playing chess, and you see, we saw what happened to Scrappy. I know I'm jumping ahead on that, but I was just saying that was another prediction that we said last week. Okay, so what did you think? Did you think that Unique thought that Scrappy was on the up and up? Did you see this coming?
In a way, I think I saw that he would test to find out for a couple of reasons. The first one being the last episode, the way they cut it, where when she picked up Scrappy, And she was, he was like, oh, well, Kanan came to me and got into the fight. It was just apparent that she had some type of conversation with him. So as a viewer, you could tell that she's asking Scrappy to infiltrate that camp. But from Unique's perspective, he's just gotten information and hit their stash house. And it didn't go too well because Marvin ended up crashing the car and all that. So Unique knows that there's war going on. So all of a sudden now your most trusted, soldier now comes to me and says, I want to switch sides and I want to be with you. I would take that with a grain of salt to say, okay, cool. Now let me find out if you truly want to switch sides, because it just seems from a timing perspective, it may seem a bit off, right? What happened that now all of a sudden you want to switch sides? We were just trying to you've hit our crew, we've hit your crew, now you want to switch sides. So I didn't know that it was going the way it went in this episode, but I knew that Unique would try to do something to find out if really it was a genuine move, right?
Well,
so,
it's called an initiation. I mean, and really, Scrappy should have known better. I mean, because if you're going to say I'm jumping ship, then you should automatically know. Just if watching TV, you should know alone that there's going to be an initiation clause.
Yeah, they're going to test you.
They're going to test you, and he failed that test, which is why Unique is no dummy, and why play him that way? And here again, Raq is making some very indecisive moves off emotion, because she really set him up to be killed.
Yeah,
I was wondering if they were going to show that later or write something in the future episodes, because while we don't see her actually sending him, but we all know she did. Oh. But I guess what is it for? What is it for? Why did she send him?
Right.
Like, yeah. I'm curious to know that.
Why did she send Scrappy?
Yeah, like to infiltrate Unique's camp for information because they hit her stash house. Like, what was that purpose? I think maybe we'll see that coming because.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think that she was playing it. She said she was going to go on offense, and I think she thought she had the best chance with Scrappy because he was the one that got in a fight with Kanan. And Unique's boy saw the fight, saw them both getting arrested. She probably was like, okay, he thinks that Kanan, that Scrappy is on the out, and that this might be the perfect time to get him inside, and then plan their move to hit Unique or whatever. But you see that backfired.
Yeah, I'm thinking it doesn't go that way. I'm thinking if you have a high level lieutenant in your organization and for some reason you fall out, I don't know that you just release them to the streets so that they can go to the other side. So I think that's one indication that would make Unique think something was up, because I think he would have handled it different. We saw him do that to a really kid. So I think that's the whole thing that made him suspicious. And I think so poor Scrappy.
Yeah.
I know.
And I really, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it seems like Unique has a better understanding of Raq's moves than Raq has of Unique. So she better play a better chess game or she's going to lose. Now she's already lost her distro.
I was just about to say that. She took a lot of L's this episode.
Exactly.
Before that, though, do we think Scrappy is dead?
Yeah. Did you see how they, the body?
I didn't think so.
Well, I saw his eye move a little bit. I
think his mouth and stuff, and I was like, well, was it a close up to show something, or was it an acting error?
I think that was an acting error more than anything, because I can't see Unique leaving him alive.
True.
No, I don't think he was alive at all, because his face was battered.
Yeah.
I mean, he was almost unrecognizable. I was like, no, he's out of there.
Yeah,
and he was like, and here's your boy, dude.
Yeah.
That's what he said. So I was like, yeah, it was a wrap for Scrappy.
I think I'm having a problem with her not living in a secure building or a gated community.
Yes.
I do too. I was like, the brothers don't even live with her, you know. So it's like
you're making all my points when I say how her emotional swings just doesn't cut it for being who she is. I mean, you know, okay, so she doesn't live in a gated community, but a row house, and you know, and
people not posted on the street outside.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, for someone to just come up and drop a body on your porch, that's a little ludicrous to me. I mean, I don't know.
Let's chalk that up to the 90s. Maybe they weren't as you know, they hadn't gotten into the game as much to know all the things they need to take security measures.
I remember I remember a brother here I remember a brother local here named what was his name? Raqel Evans. That boy had it going on.
Yeah.
You remember Raqel Evans?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Mhm.
Because Ghost was all the way in the penthouse. You couldn't come up to that.
No. There would have been no bodies dropped in front of Ghost's house.
Right.
No. But you said something really interesting, Ron. I wanted to pick up on that about the distro. Like when she went to go see Dean, the distro, and he shut her down. He cut off her connection. And it was like, hey, you know, I don't trust you. So I was like, wow. He shut her down. And I was just like, she was taking some serious L's. She was on the defense this episode because, I mean, that not only did she lose her connect, now she had this information from Captain Howard, or Detective Howard, that he now knows that he's the father of Kanan. So she's like, you know, that information, you can see that she was fishing with Kanan too, to see how he felt about, you know, how do you feel about having a father around and all of that. And Raq is really cold. I'm like, my prediction for her regarding this Howard situation, because you see Howard went back to the doctor and was like, hey, what if I have a son? You know, is this a possibility for the bone marrow? I really feel like Raq is going to do something. Like, I feel like she's going to let Howard die. I feel like, because I think she wants to protect that secret so much, because it is safer for her and Kanan in the streets for him to be DEFCON's son as opposed to a cop's son. And I think she wants that secret to die with him. And I don't think that she will allow him to do the bone marrow. I think she's going to do something. And it was apparent, because when she went to his partner and was like, she pretty much issued a threat to Howard, let him know that you don't come between a mother and their son. And I was like, there it is. I said, I don't trust that she's going to tell Kanan the truth about him. And I think she would probably rather let him die. She may kill him first before she lets Kanan find out that that's her real dad and his dad.
Yeah, I would suspect, I would probably guess that he might tell Kanan, even though as the legal guardian, it would be up to her to whether or not she would allow him to do it. But I could see, because there has to be some type of conflict that really pulls mother and son apart, or at least really tries to. And I think if he tells Kanan, what would that do? You know, how would he feel about Raq for keeping his true father away from him? Because that might have impacted some of the choices he made too.
And also think about it this way. I think if Raq were to think about it twice, because I know her first thought is a woman, but she needs to think about.
Oh, this is sexist comment, bro.
Because her emotions, her emotions are going to take over any analytical thought she might have. And that's what I mean by first. Her emotions are going to be first. And I agree with you, Tiffany, that out of those emotions, she'd rather see him die.
Mhm.
But look at the shape you're in. You've lost your distro. You got Unique on your back. You got a lot of troubles. Now, just suppose you're able to help out Detective Howard, save his life. This brother owes you now. And you might need that nugget later on, because right now, things just ain't going your way. And so if she were to think about it, really think about it.
That would be an ace. That would be, because he could get Unique off her back.
Exactly right.
Yeah, but Ronald, these shows they always end up making the wrong decision, right? we get to know the right decision, and we're like, no, do it this way, but they always end up going.
I know.
They do the opposite.
But
They do the opposite.
I know it's wishful thinking. I mean, I realize it, you know, but just in case, I mean, but think about the artistry of that aspect of it, though. I mean, because Howard is already in with Unique. In fact, you know, he gave Unique the nod between Raq and himself. So it wouldn't be too short a process to think that after helping Howard, that he could find a way to take down Unique.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that makes for some good writing or some good show, some good film. So I don't know. It seems like a good episode to me, but again, it's wishful thinking. But I'm saying that if she were to give it deeper thought, she'd want to help him out, because right now she needs favor.
I agree with you, but what I think, he may think he's been good with Unique, but we heard Unique last week saying something about the detective. You know, he said something slick about Howard, so he's playing. That told me he's playing Howard too. Like, he's playing chess with everybody.
I think he realized that Howard was the one who kind of betrayed him for the win when he got that information and they sent the police to raid them. And so he realized that the only person that probably could have done that and had the pull was Howard, or at least what Howard didn't do was protect him, which is what he said.
What he said he was going to do. Yep.
And knowing how we know how Kanan ended up turning out, you know, him killing his own son. I wasn't thinking along those lines, Tiffany, but I think you might be right. Like, you know, as a child, it's coming from somewhere. So is it something that his mom is going to end up killing his dad, or a family member? Something is going to transpire where, you know, it's, you know, down the road or years later, he's not going to think twice if he feels like, whether you're a family member or his son, if you go against him, he's comfortable in shooting you or killing you or whatever the case may be. Something is going to happen in these formative years of him to get that comfortable, you know, to even be in a position to end up offing his son. I mean, he killed Sean, you know, because he felt like Sean chose Ghost over him. But to be that comfortable and to turn out to be that menacing, it came from somewhere, in my opinion. So I think you might be onto something in terms of her, maybe, you know, she definitely wants that. She doesn't want that secret out. Something is going to happen, obviously.
It was like she was already putting feelers out there with him. Like, how do you feel about not having your father and stuff? And then when he made the comment like, oh, all I need is you. Which is what she wanted to hear, you know. To me, it was like, okay, she, in her mind, she's already processing. Like, he's fine with it just being us two. So if it comes to that, I think she would make that call.
She won't think twice.
That's an unfair question, right? Because he doesn't know he has the option of having a father, you know.
In fact, that's what he said. He said, "I can't miss what I've never had."
I've never had.
So
he might not forgive her when he fight you. Who knows? They might write it in such a way that he might be so hurt, you know, from Raq's decision, because he clearly loves her. You know, that's all he knows. So something is going to happen where there's potentially going to be a switch in that perspective.
Okay, so What about your boy London Brown? I want to talk about Marvin.
I love London Brown. I love his character. And before we say that, I noticed, I don't know if you guys have, one of my favorite all-time movies is Ocean's 11, I think.
Mhm.
And Brad Pitt's character in that movie is always like eating something or chewing something or has like and I noticed that Marvin is always, he's eating, he has a lollipop in his mouth, he's smoking a cigarette, like it's almost like every scene he's in he's acting with like something that he's eating. Every scene I've noticed he has something. He's either eating, he's chewing, he has a lollipop. Just pay attention to that. I was like, that's interesting that his character is always doing that. Yeah. Oh, he talked about that?
Yeah.
I must have missed it.
No, check out. Yes, we interviewed him. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
For viewers who haven't seen that interview yet, please go on our site, our YouTube channel, and check it out. Last Sunday we interviewed London Brown and Marvin, and he talked about that because apparently that is something he's done with several other characters he's played too. His character D in Hustle, his character Reg and Ballers. That's part of his thing.
That's his signature. So
that's his thing.
Right.
That's awesome. He's doing a good job.
Yeah, that was an awesome interview too.
Yeah, it absolutely. You got to check it out. And I want to tie in what Raq did with the inspector and how Martin cleaned this whole mess up. Now, I don't know if I get the feeling that Raq didn't go there to kill him. I think she went there to try to pay him. You think? I think she wanted to pay him off. And then, he got smart. He got smart ass because initially he thought that she would meet him and they would have some kind of sex exploitation and yada, yada, yada. But, she said, hey, I'm going to keep it. I think she said something to the effect, I'm going to keep it straight or clean. And she just dropped some money on him. And then he made the biggest mistake he could possibly make in his entire life. He grabbed the woman and grabbed her by her neck. You don't do that to Raq. Are you kidding me? And then if that wasn't enough, he punches her in the stomach. Oh, my God. Why didn't you just ask God to take you out with a lightning strike? I mean, you would have been better off. You don't do that to Raq. And then Marvin, brother, I don't know where you got the idea to bury a man by the wall.
I was thinking about the smell.
That's what I'm saying.
I was like, after a couple of days,
yes,
it don't smell like death. So I don't know.
It goes.
That was the right idea.
It'll permeate through that whole apartment building.
If they're using it as a cookhouse, maybe that's gonna kill the smell. But I thought about that too. I was like, but we're just gonna suspend that reality and say it's a good place. So you don't have to take the body out. But I kept thinking, okay, could potentially pay this off. Who are you gonna get next? And what is that person gonna do? You gotta hope you convince that person and pay that person off. Otherwise, it's gonna look like a serial killer is killing inspectors, housing inspectors.
Exactly.
So it's like you hope the next person that comes along knows how to play ball. But yeah, it served two purposes. He got rid of the body.
And he did. And he did it to him before he did it as well. Like, about his.
He don't have nobody to vent to, so he was like, "I'll take this opportunity."
I was like, poor Marv. He's about his station and the organization and stuff, and he's like, "But it don't matter." But thank you for listening.
if I'm not mistaken, I think Raq said on her way out, "Make a meal of him."
Yes, she did.
Okay, that to me, correct me if I'm wrong, but that to me says cut him up.
Chop. That's what I thought. When you said it, I was like, oh, chop.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. But burying a brother in the wall with 2 nails in his head.
Listen, in The Wire, they did that. However, those buildings were abandoned.
Abandoned, yes.
So that's the difference. But people still live in those buildings, and that's where I think it was not a good idea. But one thing that London said during the interview that came true you know, we asked him about the car that got smashed up. And he
Right.
said, well, Marvin
Got
ain't
bread.
sitting on no bus. As we saw, he
Yeah,
had a
we
blue
see.
Mercedes this week.
Exactly.
Got a brand new car. He don't even close the door. He gets out. It's like, it's just a car. This is a
Yeah.
Mercedes.
He got a
Yeah.
brand new,
Cares.
brand new, brand new whip. What can we say? I
Yeah.
like it.
But I felt like going back on the inspector, I just felt like he's probably done this before. Because even though Raq flirted a little bit, like, I'm a single mother, how can we make this right, or something like that, it was too comfortable for him to be like, well, let's meet alone and let's have this conversation. And like you said, how comfortable he just started holding her leg and wanted to hit on. It just felt like he's comfortable. He's done this before, but then again, he said before that, I asked about you and you're the drug dealer. So in my mind, I'm thinking, if you know that she's the drug dealer, why would you,
She's a woman.
be that aggressive, or, you're
she's
right,
a woman.
Tiffany. But I would think that, okay, if she's a drug dealer, she probably has a gun on her. She's probably told her team. So if you're saying I asked about you, so you did some type of homework. So to me, that would tell me that, I would be cautious, just kind of, trying to make a move. But the other guy knows.
Yeah.
Because the other guy heard the conversation. So clearly, somebody's gonna find out about the body. Somebody's gonna.
Let me talk
they're
about
gonna know.
let me talk about the brothers right now, because I'm talking about the brothers right now. But, and Tiffany, I know you might have heard me say this before, but you can't, brothers. You better understand the power of a woman. She's going to outthink you because your level of communication is one-sided. We got one lane. You heard me say this a lot, Courtney. Tiffany. We got one lane. We travel in and we travel out on that one lane. Y'all got a super highway with 4 different kinds of lanes. Y'all are traveling all over the place, back and forth, switching lanes, and we can't figure that out. So what gave you the impetus to think that this woman is a drug dealer? So she obviously has a crew and she has security. And if I do anything to her, you couldn't figure that out, brother. Even on that one lane that you had, you couldn't figure that out.
But that's a big part of it, of that we see, that people continue to underestimate her because she is a woman. You see it with Neek, you see it with the husband at the store. They continually underestimate her and
devalue,
judge her, devalue her, and try things with her that they wouldn't try with the man. But you see how they pay for it at the end. So they ain't learned, but they pay consequences for that too, for having to catch up.
And clearly,
The husband at the store is gonna come up missing. I see that.
Yeah.
He's next on the list.
Oh, he's horrible.
Yeah,
he's horrible.
The
The wife was. You think that's where she's gonna get her new connect from the wife?
Yeah, because that's what she asked her for her cousin. I need you to find out, let me know your cousin and stuff. That's gonna probably be our next connect. But you're right about that. Hubby is about to come up missing, and what you guys were saying about how she's viewed as a woman. I just keep going back to what Unique said to her in the very first episode about the woman, her having a child, all of these things. He pretty much said that this game ain't really for you. And I think that's why people keep playing her the way she does, even with the connect. When he was like, I don't trust you, and things like that, the way he was talking to her, I was like, yeah, I said they're playing her that way because she is a woman. But there are some people that still fear her because, we saw this week that Lulu had his showcase with Crown and Jukebox and Famous. And the guys outside were tripping. And that he was giving Lulu some static a little bit. And then when Raq came up, he piped down real quick when she showed her presence. I was like, okay. I was like, Raq is feared in these streets. Even as a woman, they know who she is.
That's a brother with 2 lanes instead of 1, because he understood he was in trouble if he were going to keep that mess up. But I want to talk about Lou. And I want to bring up something about Lou, or some comparisons, or better yet, similarities between Lou and my boy Omar in power, because as you see, yes, as you see, Lou is establishing this.
Wants to get out.
Wants to get out. He's having this studio and he wants it clean. Does that remind anybody of any struggle?
Of course.
I was like, Lulu is like, this is like goes all over again. And he has another Angela Valdez and Jessica.
There you go. There you go.
That's where I was thinking that there's, as close as he is with Raq, I felt like Raq is not gonna want him to leave, like get out of the game. Obviously she doesn't trust Marvin as much as she trusts Lou, and all of a sudden Lou's want to go clean, and so there's gonna be some, you know, contention there, and that's who I was thinking that maybe she may end up taking out her own brother. That might have a huge impact on Kanan. That's how I was kind of foreshadowing or thinking through it, that there's gonna be some friction because they're so close now, and already, because if you notice when she said you need to go pick up whatever, and he was like, oh, I gotta go to the club, and then but before I do that, I'll go check on this for you. You can tell, even though at the club she ended up saying, hey, you're doing a good job, but I don't think she's gonna let him leave the game that easy.
And not only that, you can see the buildup in Lou's face when she wanted him to run drugs and things through the studio or the showcase, and he was begging to try to keep it clean, wanted to keep it clean. I think it was a bad move to go to Unique and try to work something out with Unique, because again, Unique seems to be two moves ahead when it comes to Raq, and it was just a bad move. I understood his move, and I understood what he wants, but that's what kind of sent me back to Power all again. Ghost, you know, Ghost wanting a clean shop, but you can't get a clean shop in this game. Once you start this game, everything you touch is dirty, and it's just you know, very few get out. Ghost said it himself. The only way you get out is in a box.
I saw that I saw it a little differently, because I appreciate that Lulu has the balls to walk up in there and say what he wants and wasn't afraid. And I also like the way he is a cool head. He is a person that thinks. And he showed that because he didn't respond to being baited by Neek, whatever he was saying. He went in there, said what he needed to say, and left. And I think that's a sign of strength. You know what I mean? Yeah, it is. It's a huge statement in the type of person that he is in his character. And also, I think it has to garner a certain level of respect from Neek, you know, to appreciate who Lulu is, and to recognize that he is a formidable opponent, because I think it does take some balls to walk up in the enemy's territory in the midst of a war and be like, hey, not this space, not this time, right?
I agree.
So I just saw that a little different. I don't think it was a mistake, particularly now that he knows that Neek was just playing them, so he could, you know, send somebody in there, because whatever deal they had, whatever favor, that's off the table now, right? Because the guy's presence there basically told him it's a problem.
But you kind of put yourself in a rather precarious situation at this point, because of the fact that you went and asked Neek for a favor, and Neek said, okay, I like niggas that pardon the expression, that owe me favors. And yes, Lou probably thought, you know, he had accomplished something. And I agree, it takes a whole lot of balls to step up into an enemy's camp and ask for anything. And I agree with that. But now what do you do that Neek broke that contract? Because we have to assume, or at least Lou would assume, that Neek, well, you don't have to assume it, he knows that Neek sent Scrappy and this other guy to kill you. And so what do you do now? So
I think he was going to do what they were always going to do. He wasn't saying it was an end to the war. He was like, not tonight, you know?
No. That's my point. The agreement was not tonight, but Neek broke that agreement. So you leave Lou in a precarious situation, because now what does he do? He doesn't do anything, or does he try to strike back on Neek? And if he did that, that would probably be an even bigger mistake, because I just don't see them as strong numbers wise as Neek might be.
And like,
I'm sorry. I think it depends on how they take it. Does he take it as, oh, you really tried to put a hit on me? Or does he take it as, oh, you saw through what my sister was trying to do, and that was kind of you waving your hand saying, we know your man is a plant? Because I think that based on how they view that, it determines the reaction. Because if it's just saying you got caught, okay, the gig is up. We got caught. We tried to have somebody infiltrate your organization. Either way, the war is still on. It was never off.
Well, as a man, I came to you as a man. We agreed as a man. And even if you were to send a message that you knew Raq had sent an infiltrator, that could have been dealt with tomorrow. I asked you no monkey business tonight, and you broke that. And so now it puts me in a situation that I have to respond back to that, because if I don't, it makes me look like a coward. That's how men think.
True, but I think like you said, Unique was playing chess. He saw that opportunity as, oh, this might be a good one to do the test that I've been wanting to, right? So
absolutely,
I will agree. So I don't think he was agreeing from that perspective. He was just agreeing like, okay, but I'm gonna send this person in to make sure to validate, and now I've gotten my answer. I think it's gonna come back to Raq though. Raq is gonna find out that Lou went behind her back.
That was my point. I was going to say that.
To, and that's gonna cause some some type of friction, like, especially now that Scrappy is dead or has been tortured at all, that it's gonna come to light as far as Raq is concerned. Like, wait, now I don't trust you, Lou. You went behind my back to try to, get this favor or deal or whatever for your club. So it's gonna put
we're here. That was gonna be my next statement. I said, Raq is gonna be upset that he went, and she's gonna. I can hear her saying to him, like, this is something Marvin would do. This is something I would expect him to do, not you, Lou, because you're the one who's typically level-headed. And then you go.
And if Marvin's deal comes right in terms of, selling dope on the highway, that he took Kanan's idea, maybe that might be an in to go now start an in with Raq, right? Because now it's like there's a shaky connection between Raq and Lou, and maybe she might start seeing Marvin in a different perspective. But for sure, it's gonna get back to Raq.
She doesn't have a lot of options right now, so she has to consider other things right now. Her connect has shut her down.
Right.
I don't know.
But I see where you're coming from, Ron. You're right, because I think Lou knows that, oh, I made an agreement with you, Unique, and you didn't hold your end of the bargain. Obviously, Scrappy gave him the signal that, hey, they're here to kill you. So what I don't know though is does Lou and Marvin know that Raq sent Scrappy?
Well, that's what I was about to say. I was just about to say, I'm not sure if they knew that. I mean, Scrappy was, when Lou turned around and Scrappy was slightly back from the other gentleman, he went, that's an acknowledgement anybody can pick up, particularly in that line of work. So he knew at that point, that is, Lou knew that his life was in danger here, and so he started this ruckus. So, but I don't know. It isn't clear to me that Raq put everybody on notice as that she was using Scrappy as to infiltrate Neek. And there again is a problem, because while you want information coming back to you and you talk about loyalty and truth, you have to have, amongst your soldiers, particularly your lieutenants, they have to know what's going on. They all seem to have this secret war going on amongst themselves.
Ron, and Casey, I think you probably already know what I'm going to say. Because Ron is saying this, And that was the same point I used to say about Ghost. Ghost
Yeah,
he would not tell people what was going on.
He had good intentions, but by withholding all those, it always backfired.
So it's funny to say this about Rock. Ghost did it all the time.
Ron, you would never live this down. You would never live this down.
I know this.
All the grace for Ron.
I know every chance she gets. Every chance she gets, she's gonna whip me with that Ghost whip. And she pulls it out every single time. I have to be very careful. I have
how much grace he always gives to go.
I have to be very careful what I say around Tiffany because he is going to take that and turn that whip loose on me. And I mean, I got 40 lashes already from this woman.
But I think Ghost is all our favorite character. So no matter what, he always has good intention. That's the whole purpose, right? With the whole power. I mean, now it's raising Kanan, but I think they always have good intentions, but it never works out. That you withhold something and it's gonna end up backfiring. I mean, that's the essence of the show, I guess. So yeah, but you're right. How can she blame him or have some type of distrust if she is also potentially going behind their backs and making certain decisions that can come back and fall on them? So, but I mean, they listen to their sister, even though she's the middle child. It's almost like, okay. So who knows? Which I'm curious about that dynamic. How did that happen? Her being the middle and the only girl. What's that? How did that come up where even the older brother and the younger brother is so,
he messed up. And now I'm starting to think that she's kind of ruthless. He said he was set up. I said, I wonder if she set Marvin up and sent him to jail so she can run the game. And now that I'm seeing how she maneuvers and she's keeping secrets and everything, I wouldn't put it past her to maybe she set him up and to go away and everything because he was running the game first.
Right.
And so
because that's what I was thinking, that she's gonna have something done to Lou, because even when at the club, she made it clear to Lou, so you're using our money. It's not just your money, it's my money too. Remember how he was paying for the lightning guy and the electrical and she was like, let me go and make some more money just in case we need to pay another lightning guy.
Yeah.
So
she have your night. I was like,
right.
Man, she's being a dream killer right now.
Yeah.
But we didn't even talk about jukebox, because that one prediction that we said last week, we said that we thought after the Nicole thing, we're like, okay, she's done with Nicole, or she might sneak around. But Nicole showed up at the house, and not only that, she came.
How did she find out where she lived?
I think she always knew, but she just never had been to the South Side.
Gotcha.
And everything.
Okay.
She just had never gone. But she came to the house. They booed up. Jukebox asked her if she's coming to the showcase. She lied to her parents again, and she did come to the showcase. And I feel like, from what I saw from Nicole at the showcase, she's getting ready to be like Mel in Snowfall.
Yeah.
Because Brown gave her a hit of that blunt, and it had crack laced in it. So I was like, she's about to be a crackhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's gone.
Yep.
Yeah. Because she had that same look on her face like Mel when she hit that first hit.
And then her behavior afterwards, she seems a little undone on the bus on the way home.
Yeah. And it was cool because it was funny that Jukebox was kind of stage fright, and Kanan had to be the one to talk her off the ledge. She wouldn't even come out and everything. So they pieced up because they had a beef and all that. And then when they got on stage, Famous got stage fright. And I love the way Jukebox took control of that situation. And they sounded good. They rocked the house. And it was funny. Kanan's face was funny because as Famous was spitting his verses, bars, Kanan was looking like, wait a minute, this is sounding.
This is the stuff we do. I did. The streets
like,
need a body.
Yeah, he was looking like. I said, oh no. I said, is Famous snitching? But I mean, I don't think Famous knows everything. Anyway, yeah.
But that's the interesting thing that you hear these stories, even like in hip hop for real, people rapping about stuff that they didn't do, but other people did, and it's still giving out information, right? So
yeah,
know a little bit about the situation. If they listening to the lyrics, it's like, wait a minute, huh? What'd you say? So I mean, from our artistic standpoint, I get it, but it's also, I'm looking at Kanan. Kanan's like, one, that's my story, and two, you telling it on this stage.
Right,
yeah,
right.
But
yeah.
I like what 50 said, because 50 brought it up, how rappers are telling stories that they've never actually experienced. And, and of course, that's what Famous was doing. But it's just a story. It's just, it's just lines on a paper right now. Nobody really knows what
For him.
but him.
Right.
But him. I think though, with Nicole, she's very toxic. Now that she's had a taste of that snowfall, she's going to be a menace to deal with, because, Moms is going to blame everything on Jukebox. And it's not a stretch that that family could actually have cause problems for Jukebox down the road. So it's a toxic love relationship, and it's going to worsen as the episodes go.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be interesting, because I think about, typically you see that it's almost like Detective Howard is aware of them, but now that Nicole is involved, it's going to put the spotlight on them. Her parents are affluent, and then they get a daughter that comes home that has a drug problem that she didn't have before she met Jukebox, even though Jukebox wasn't the issue. Right. She was not the bad influence. I think it's going to put eyeballs on them in a way that they don't want, that they didn't invite. Or I see Jukebox having to make a very hard decision to cut the girl off if she becomes a nuisance, because she's coming to her for drugs.
Yeah.
And I was going to say that conversation that Jukebox had with the cop. Is it Burke? How was you were gonna say that to me, Tiffany?
We right here. I was gonna go there too. That I think that might be her introduction into end up being, because Jukebox was a crooked cop, right? Wasn't she in power? She somehow she becomes a cop. So I don't know if that's where that storyline, because she was like, you can come talk to me about anything, and who knows, maybe that relationship can like expand. But I believe she was a crooked cop when we first met her in her character in Power. And I remember when Kanan, when her girlfriend, I think it was Jukebox's girlfriend that was nursing Kanan, when he was all burnt up. And I remember he said something to her, like, basically stating that he was really close with Jukebox when her father kicked her out because of who she is, like her being a lesbian. So I think that's gonna play out too, where her dad Marvin is gonna find out. I don't know if it's through Nicole and her being hooked on drugs, who knows. But I remember those two things, that somehow I think they're starting to introduce that whole cop piece. I agree in the storyline.
I can actually see it playing out where the mother or the family of Nicole's family has Jukebox arrested, and the female detective comes to her and say, "Hey, there's another way out.
That's a good one.
You're a smart girl.
Yeah.
You can join the police force or do something to that effect. Get your life together." And she does, and perhaps moves to DC. And
she was in DC.
Right. So,
but
who knows? I just while I love the show, it seems to be writing itself into a corner. Raq is she has a whole lot to deal with, and she can't seem to trust her brothers. You can't trust her son. She's gonna need a new distro. She's got a lot going on. She's got a body in the wall, which is going to be self-evident after a while. She's got a lot going on, and it's going to be interesting how you take all these loose ends and somehow untangle them and have a straight line all over it. Once again, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to happen, but
Well, I think not only is this cop first gonna tell her about police force and stuff, she seemed to be alluding to other things too about her own personal life. So she may be schooling Jukebox on that area, on those things too. And we saw.
You're right. She may be understand because she may be a lesbian herself.
That's
too.
What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
She is. Yeah, she may because
she
picked up on the two of them when they were hugging. Like I think she's picked up she only picked up because maybe she is.
I think she is
that way.
About some things that other people might not understand, and I said, okay.
Right.
I said that's her story,
right.
and she's probably on the down low, she's not out this cop. And she was letting Jukebox know I can talk to you about some things. But and we saw that a lot of folks had love scenes. Famous, we saw Famous probably had his first groupie.
I thought he was gonna die. I don't know why I thought something was gonna happen to him. I'm like, this seems weird.
Eventually, no, it just seemed like everybody was getting their thing off because him, who else? Kanan and Davina. I was like, okay, yep, Kanan and Davina and Famous and everything. So everybody had that going on. So I think you touched on everything. I want to, get everybody's predictions. Oh,
yeah. One more thing too. I believe if you guys remember, Symphony is the one that gave Kanan the idea about the drugs and selling the drugs on the highway or the freeway.
Oh,
because if you remember, he said something when they were in the class or something
about the gas station.
The gas station. The white kids pull up there because they want their fix or something like that. So when he went there and they were putting the flyers together, and he was scoping the area. He that's probably that triggered that, and then he told Marvin. I mean, he told Marvin was like, nah. He said, think about it. So I don't know if Marvin is gonna come back. Well, in the next episode, I believe they said, yeah, the two of them, because I recall him saying something like, if Raq finds out, we're gonna both be dead.
But I think he realized that it was a good idea. Probably thought they had no choice now without a connect. But anyway, I think that we touched on just about everything. So I want to go into, does anyone have any predictions for next week? Go ahead.
I think Raq is going to forgive Symphony. I think she's going to turn it around.
I think so too.
She needs that comfort. She needs that out in her life right now. And I think she's
not just comfort. You see how Symphony looks.
She overreacted. It's okay. She overreacted, right?
She was putting it down. And she'll get over it. Like,
okay. I got you, Tiff. You always get connected on those ends. You find that way to connect that story, even with Ghost. Okay, but
yes.
But I think she's gonna find the ills of her ways and try to reconcile with Symphony, and rightfully so. And it would be interesting if she discovers that Symphony put that nugget in Kanan's head about the highway. I don't see it coming in a writer's perspective now that they got Marvin and Kanan working that in. But it would be interesting to find out that she has a problem with that when right now her only recourse is coming up with a new plan, and that does seem like a smart one to have.
I agree. I agree with that prediction too, Ron. I think they're gonna reconcile, and I do feel like the prediction I made earlier about Detective Howard, I feel like she's going to stop at nothing to keep that secret tight. And she might, and if he tells her, I mean, I don't know, she might kill him or let him die. I mean, maybe she'll do what you said. The smart thing would be to let him, you know, take Unique out or whatever, then assist her and stuff. But I don't know. I just feel like she might let that brother die. I do feel that way.
Mm.
You guys have predictions of Casey and Wanda?
I think I made mine about Nicole.
You said what?
That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
I'm sorry. What did you say, Luana?
Oh, I said I made mine about Nicole.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
good one. No, I think we've talked about predictions throughout. I'm just anxious as to when the Ghost and Tommy and all characters get introduced. Obviously, we know they know Kanan, but it's not gonna be this season, I know, because they have season 2. But it will be interesting how they write that storyline in there.
Well, you know what?
Because he seems like he's, you know, famous, and famous is really a buddy of his, and you know he has his crew, so it'll be interesting to
we
see
gotta
how
meet
that plays out.
Breeze. We gotta meet Breeze first.
That's true.
And then Courtney Kemp had an interview like 2 weeks ago, and I think she went live, and someone asked about that, like, when is Ghost and Tommy? And she was like, guys, during this season, Ghost and Tommy are like in the 5th grade. And I didn't realize that Ghost and Tommy was that much younger than Kanan.
Kanan, you're
Kanan's
right.
like 15. Yep. So they're 10. So it's like a 5-year age difference between us. And said we're not introducing them at this point. But anyway, want to wrap up. And I want to thank you, Casey, for joining us. You joined us before. You've been a great addition this week.
Oh, appreciate it.
Yeah, we enjoyed your commentary. And so thank you guys for tuning in to our recap this week. Tierra will be back next week. Follow us on Facebook, IG, Twitter. Subscribe to our channel. Click the notification bell to get notifications on all of our videos. And also tune into our London Brown interview too. That interview was really dope. Really engaging, funny. Charming, humble, spiritual, all of that. So check out that interview as well.
I echo everything she said.
Thank you guys for having me. Really appreciate it.
Of course.
And it's definitely been our pleasure.
It has been our pleasure. Anybody else who wants to join, please reach out to us and we will get back to you about joining.
And you can reach out in the comments too. So, you know, just we read all the comments and we try to respond to every single one. So, you know, if you have interest, just drop us a note, let us know. But we do want to thank you, Casey. Again, you are a true spotter if there isn't one. So.
Yes, I'm a spotter forever.
All right.
Thanks again, everybody. Bye-bye.
We'll have one again.
Yeah, all this money on me. Whoa.